multiplayer games is having a resurgence right now, and I couldn't be any happier. Let's talk about it. Multiplayer games in the last 10 years kind of been in a rut. It was like every game that was releasing was like some type of movement shooter clone, Call of Duty clone, and trying to do Call of Duty better than Call of Duty, which we all know. Even if they do Call of Duty good, they never do it better than Call of Duty. So even if it get a fan base, some type of fan base, a smidget of a fan base, we all leave because we go back to the original. So those clones that even if they were successful, they died. Even with Overwatch, that was like one of the last big multiplayer games. It was like a game of the year winner. So
Game of the year at the Game Awards 2016 is Overwatch.
That was like one of those big multiplayer games before we start getting that decline into, you know, the trash that we've been getting for the last 10 years. And since I've been talking about clones, let's talk about how a lot of those clones was just trash. Like I said, a lot of Call of Duty movement shooter clones. After Titanfall success, we've seen a lot of people trying to copy that format of play, you know, running on the walls, you know, the high speed, just a lot of movement going on, a lot of movement parts, a lot of crazy gun battles. They got that from Titanfall, and I feel like even Call of Duty took a little bit of that and implemented it in their games. And everything was just getting, you know, felt samey, you know? A lot of games just felt samey. We weren't getting too many, like, games trying to go out of the box and actually build their own fan base and build their own core. Even if they had to be a little different, we wasn't getting those, you know, developers going out of the box and challenging themselves. We wasn't getting that. We was just getting clones and dog shit. And the biggest game right now is a fucking clone of Overwatch, which Overwatch was, like I said, one of the last big multiplayer games of the last 10 years. But now we have Marvel Rivals, which I put almost 100 hours in, and I think it is one of those games that's actually really fun. I think it's one of those games that you can just spend hours on hours just playing and you're not even realizing it. I feel like you can play the competitive mode and have a great time. You play the competitive mode and have a good time, or you can play, you know, quick play and still, you know, just have a good time because you learning these characters, you practicing your abilities, you practicing your positioning. You know, Marvel Rivals is really good, but the thing is, it copied everything that Overwatch did and is not doing it better than Overwatch. So even today, we still getting those clones, but I feel like we getting better clones. Okay, that I can say that. And before I get off this point, Overwatch is a better game than Marvel Rivals. Gameplay wise, it feel more fluid. The gunplay is better. The combat feel a little bit more punchy. Marvel Rivals, everything feel airy and floaty to me. It feel like it has no impact. So, you know, it just felt like it was a whole bunch of multiplayer games releasing that was just trying to copy off the, you know, the newest trends, you know, like Battle Royale. Once Battle Royale got big, you know, you just seen so many come out, and so many die, and only the 3 big ones remain. So the clones, they come and they go. Call of Duty come and go. We had people getting those type of clones. Even Halo, they had their clones. But it's been so many games that had the potential to be the next big multiplayer, but they always come out with some shitty performance, or they are coming out with some just crazy microtransactions that make the fans upset and not even want to play the game. And also, a lot of those games aren't fully featured. It's just maybe one mode at a time, and it's not really many things that you can do inside that game but play the 1 or 2 modes. And that's just how, and that's not how we grew up, especially like if you was a big multiplayer gamer back in the day. Back in the day, multiplayer games had so much content that you can get. Like you're getting a fully featured story mode. You're gonna get a 6 to 7 hour story mode with all the bells and whistles, all the fucking explosions, all the fucking cutscenes, the action that you want to see, action sequences. You get in that multiplayer game. Plus, you get in that multiplayer game with so many different modes. You might get a Call of Duty, a Halo, even Overwatch. Excuse me, little technical difficulties. But back to what I was saying. Those games back in the day had a lot of content for us. Not only are you getting a fully featured game, you're getting a campaign that's exciting. You're getting a multiplayer with so many different modes, so many different maps. You're also getting maybe even a couple different other modes. Like maybe you're getting a go-kart game on the side, like with Mortal Kombat back in the day. Or maybe you're getting Call of Duty Zombies, which with World War. I think the World at War, that's what it was. You getting that. And that's adding extra hours to your experience with that multiplayer game. And I feel like nowadays, what is really killing a lot of these companies is they just giving us bare bone experiences. Just pure bare bones experiences. Not enough content. The content that we do have, people are gonna run through it. You know what I'm saying? People run through this content. Especially when it's fucking so minuscule. Especially when you're not really putting much out. You know what I'm saying? Even when people beg like, oh, we need new modes. It takes like 6. And I know development takes time. I'm not ignorant to that. But it takes so fucking long, 6 to 7 months to get a fucking new mode in Valorant, bro. You know what I'm saying? It just takes so long, and I think that the philosophy of these new developers nowadays is not the same as the ones back in the day. I think back in the day, even if they was doing, I'm pretty sure they was doing just as much crunch or more than these new developers, and I know the games are harder to make nowadays and more expensive to make, but these developers working just as hard, just as strenuous schedules, and they were still coming with fully featured experiences that's worth our $50 to $60. Now nowadays, it's more of a free-to-play thing, and I can see why they don't want to really put all that extra content in there. Because if they did, how can they make you pay for cosmetics? Let's get to the good shit. Multiplayer games have been on a roll. We have so many genres of multiplayer games that's doing so fucking good. We have MOBAs with the League of Legends and Dota. They are always going to do their staples. They're always going to do good, They're always going to do good because they're staples in the PC community and in the gaming community as a whole. They're always going to do good. And then we have new MOBAs in the genre, like Deadlock that's coming in Paladins 2, which has a lot of potential, especially Deadlock because it's Valve, and you know PC gamers go all out for Valve, and I think once that game actually released, it's going to be a 100,000, 200,000 player a day type of game. You got a whole bunch of FPS and tactical FPS shooters popping off. We have Valorant, which a lot of people said was a Counter-Strike clone. In many ways, it is a Counter-Strike clone. But it came with its own unique style of art style and came with its own hero shooter. I mean, they took it from Overwatch, but it came with the hero shooter aspects to that tactical gameplay. And they're still going good. They're still going hard. It's still hella viewership on Twitch. Still hella players still playing Valorant. So that's an FPS shooter that's doing really good. We have so many FPS shooters that's popping off right now. Like we got PUBG that's actually doing great numbers again. I remember at one point it was lowering kinda, but now I'm seeing on Steam it's averaging upwards to like 150 to 200 people playing at any given time. So man, PUBG is still doing its thing, and even though battle royales and that whole genre has lost its luster, it's still doing big. It's still getting numbers, and I feel like it's getting bigger somehow. Of course, we got the Fortnite still have its presence in the world, still doing big, collaborations, still doing big things with Fortnite. So Fortnite still doing its thing. Apex, it's up and down, but Apex always was fundamentally sound gameplay wise. It always felt smooth. The gunfights always felt great in Overwatch. Excuse me. The gunfights always felt great in Apex Legends, and it's still doing great. It just went down to like 40,000 at any given time players. Now it's back to up to the 120. So Overwatch is still going strong, and that's still a multiplayer game. That's going great. Also, we got a whole bunch of new stuff. We got Fragpunk. That's doing pretty good. That's one of those new multiplayer games. The PC gamers, they're always going to go out of their way to find new games and actually support it. And if the devs actually do good, I feel like Fragpunk still will be a top game right now. But it's doing really good numbers right now. We got fucking extraction shooters, like Escape from Tarkov, and Delta Force, which is another a game that's doing pretty good right now. Dropped maybe like a month ago or 2 months ago, and it's averaging maybe like 50 to 60,000 players at any given time. So multiplayer games and FPS genre is doing great. Co-op games is doing great. Let's talk about Path of Exile 2. That's one of those games that it had a big fan base. Path of Exile 1, a lot of people saying that it is, the standard. It's the standard for ARPGs, and Path of Exile really took that over, and it's had a fucking huge launch of to 400,000 people playing at any given time. So that game is doing fucking great, and it's only in early access, and it can only do better. So that co-op game is doing great. We got a co-op game. It's a single player experience, but Split Fiction, that's doing fucking awesome right now. Back. Even more co-op games. You got Repo, which is like a horror. You know, PC, those type of games always get popular on PC. You know, PC gamers sometimes just like those games that you can just get in there with your friends and you can joke around and have a good time. And Repo is doing that right now, and it's averaging a whole bunch of fucking players right now too. And those games are always going to be on top. We always get a co-op game that's going to last for a certain point, and then the new co-op game come out, and that averages over 60,000, 80,000 games at any given time. So that's doing great. We got Warframe always going to do great. It's just so many co-op games that you can play right now, even with like multiplayer, like massively multiplayer games, MMOs. You got Throne and Liberty that's doing pretty good. Even, you know, Warcraft still doing good, still the top at his game. I'm not a player, but I know it's still doing well as far as like the fans still actively going out and, you know, playing everything that they got available for them. New expansions, new quests. So co-op games is doing great too. And then you got the survival. Like, there's just so many genres like Rust, The Forest, and we can even say those distraction shooters. They kind of like survival games too. Everything is just doing well right now. I haven't, especially for like the last like so many years, like we've been looking for games to play. We've been looking for these new experiences that can hold on to us and actually latch on to us and make us want to keep coming every day and play those games. But we haven't been getting that years before. Now I feel like every genre, no matter what you want to do, if you into co-op, you into competitive shooters, or you into isometric games, like it's just so many genres right now in the multiplayer space that's popping off. And like I said, just check the Steam numbers. These games is going off, bro. And I feel like a lot of people, once they really see how everything is just gradually just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, we ain't gonna get a lot of those people talking about, oh, there's no multiplayer games out to play right now, because you're lying. You're lying. You got players to play with, check the numbers. You can play with some players, man. You can have a good experience. You can. And all the welcome experiences that we are getting, like Delta Force, like Frag Punk, like Path of Exile 2, Dark and Darker, that's one of the games I like. Shout out to Dark and Darker. Dark and Darker. And even Marvel Rivals, like I said, which is a complete clone of Overwatch, and it doesn't really do much better than Overwatch, but it's going crazy right now because it understands what the fan base wants. It understands how not to be fucking so greedy. It gives you free characters. It gives you free maps. Like, Marvel Rivals is doing everything good, and it's doing better than Overwatch, actually. Even for how great Overwatch is, and how much better of a game I think it is, Marvel Rivals is fucking killing Overwatch right now. And we getting welcome additions, man. I just can't be mad at it. And you know, it's actually good to have gaming be balanced again, because for so long, single player games have been taking over that space, like, because it hasn't really been any multiplayer games that can even compete with single player games as far as going for that Game of the Year title, as far as going for all the accolades that a lot of these single player games get, like The Last of Us, like the Gods of Wars, like the Marios, like the Astrobots. It was just so many single player games for the last 10 years and even now that we were okay. Like, we were good. We knew if we had a console, if we had a PC, these single player experiences was going to give us something. If it's not a great story, it's going to be great gameplay. Like, it was great for single players. But nowadays we getting to that multiplayer, and we getting all these different experiences, and we getting all these different genres popping off, and we getting so many players, I feel like, trying out a whole bunch of new genres. And I feel like if a lot of these devs keep dropping quality multiplayer experiences, or in the devs that's already got multiplayer experience that's actually popping off, as long as they keep dropping stuff like that, multiplayer games is going to get a stronger and stronger foothold. Even though it already has a strong foothold, it's just going to be a wider horizon of multiplayer games, you know, getting a piece of that pie, you know, get a piece of that pie, you know. So I feel like multiplayer games is about to have a strong foothold over the industry again, and I feel like it's going to be equal as far as like the single player experience and the multiplayer experience being, you know, really fucking good. So I think it's getting to that level. And lastly, I'm just happy, bro. I'm happy that I can have these games that I could just put hundreds of hours into and just sit back and enjoy it. Because of late, I'm not gonna lie, I'm more of a multiplayer game, and sometimes when you get stuck on one multiplayer game and you're looking for other ones, but it's nothing that catch your attention, that multiplayer game that you do love, you know, you start to hate it. And then you just start hating multiplayer. And then you're just like, man, what the fuck? Multiplayer suck. But now we got so many options that we're not trapped on one multiplayer game or one experience that we really love. If we're getting bored or we're getting tired or we feel like the devs are kind of dropping the ball with, you know, updates or you know, tweaks in the game, we can move on to something else now. In that game that we was previously playing, it won't die. It's still gonna be a healthy game, but I'm moving on to something else, and that game is just as healthy. And I think we in a good space right now, and that's what I want more of, you know, just more options for people to, you know, just have fun with people, you know, fucking ball out in video games, talk shit, you know, troll, you know, the whole thing, you know, that's what gaming is, you know, having fun. So I'm happy for that. And I really want to know what you guys think, to be honest. Do you think that multiplayer games is in a good space right now? I feel like it's in a real good space. Do you feel like it's in a bad space? Tell me why, really. What multiplayer games are you playing right now? And do you think it's the multiplayer games that you playing are getting weaker? Do you guys suggest? Do you got suggestions for multiplayer games? Do you need suggestions for a multiplayer game? Let's all get in comments and talk about it. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe because we're gonna do a lot more of this. I got a lot more videos coming out soon, man. And then we're gonna do a lot of more side quest videos, which is more for the gamers to, you know, learn more about themselves, talk about themselves, and build ourselves up, you know, as a human being. So there's a lot more of that coming. What y'all think, man? Get in that comment section. I want to hear it. It's Tokyo Teasy. I'm out. Peace.